Welcome into King's Tables, guys. We got our first glimpse of Stranger Things 2 teaser trailer during the Super Bowl, and I was blown away. What do you think?
I mean, if you're going to blow a 25-point lead in the fourth quarter, I would be completely blown away, too.
Besides, see, I was not expecting you to go the sports route, because I love it, but besides talking about the GOAT, Tommy Brady, wicked awesome, yo. What did you think of this Stranger Things 2 teaser?
I saw it. I was excited. Like, it seems like...
I think we're all excited.
I'm like pumped. But, like, they just show the silhouette of that weird, like, it's a split second. Like, I have no idea what that creature is.
No.
And you don't know what's happening. It was just enough to be like, it just hit the fan.
Now, there's a lot of rumors out there, like that's the slug that, the kid spit in the sink at the end. I don't think that.
I could see that, though. But also, yes, I don't know.
See, I think it's a dream. I'm going to be honest. There's so much stuff that deals with visions, and there's all the science in the show. I honestly think it's just I don't think it's an impending doom sort of thing, and I could be totally wrong, but I think it's just a dream sequence that somebody's having. Like maybe Eleven's trying to speak to him through a dream, and she's showing him like what could happen. That's my theory with that creature. Because also he draws it, so I don't know, like there's a drawing of it, so I don't know, like maybe if he dreamt it and then the next day he's in school and he draws it out, and it's like what he's remembering from it. Or what, but I don't know. I'm very excited for it, though. I think they're going to do a good job. It comes out on Halloween. We see the kids dressed up like Ghostbusters. I think they do very good with the nostalgia of the 80s, of when it was. It brings me back to my childhood of watching, like, E.T. or Close Encounters of the Third Kind, stuff like that. Like, you get that feel. Or even, did you watch Super 8?
Yes.
Like,
dude, I love that.
Now you were I loved season 1, and you were not as enamored by it, though, right?
I mean, I did like it because, like, there was just getting a lot of bad reviews because they don't necessarily explain a lot of the science in the episode.
Okay.
Or, like, in the season. But I thought that was working really well for them because you don't, like, need to explain that science when you're trying to experience, like, going through the experiences as, like, just like the kids are, as, like, 11.
So you're saying they don't need to explain every little detail?
Yeah, they don't because...
it's not Mythbusters.
Yeah, they're not, like, it's sci-fi. Like, it's completely, like...
We already know it's fictional. And
yeah, and you don't need some long explanation like might be end up contradictory in one way or another, and it's just like you don't really need that when it's just all this mystery going on, and it leaves that mystery and like it allows them to like create things later on in later seasons that like to fill in gaps that you don't see later, and that just like for me is like as a creative like. That leaves you a lot of room to like reference stuff back in the first season and later seasons when you're filling in gaps, and it's just like it's leaving you ways to tie in everything together. Like,
well, see, I think you're right though that you don't need to go into every explanation because we've seen that done where you over analyze and you over like speculate or talk about it. One, it gives people like us a chance to come on a show like this and theorize and talk about it, or other people to make videos that like explain why they're in the pool or the electricity behind it or the science behind this or that. But, like, we've seen it done with, you remember the movie Hulk?
Yeah.
The terrible
the
film
original
it was?
One? Oh, my God.
I argued forever with people why it was bad because it took them, an hour and a half to explain how he got shot by radiation and became the Hulk? It's like, it's not that hard to figure out. He got shot by radiation, he becomes a big green man. That's about it. You don't need to explain everything. Like, you were saying how simple it was that they took the board to show the upside down, and since Eleven really didn't talk, all she did was flip it, and it made sense because they're kids, and... They didn't need to go into a whole explanation. But also, I think they don't explain every detail because, one, when you're writing stuff like that, and I'm not sure, I've never met the Duffer Brothers. I don't know too much about them except until the show came out. If they're, like, on some high intellectual level where they're actually going to write the exact theories and quantitative data in there. Or... if they're writing it and just, making sure that they don't get called out, like, actually, that's not how this would work or how that would work. And then it ends up on a show like Mythbusters, like, there's no way. But as you're saying, it's also fantasy. And so you have to expel some of that reality away from it. Now, going forward into Season 2, with that said, do you think they're going to go into more details with a lot of these things and explain it?
Well, yes, because they have the perspective of the science laboratory or that agency or that... Mm-hmm. That opened the door.
It opened
Yeah, and so they still have to explain all that, but like even then, like it just leaves them room to like come up with better theories later, or maybe they haven't thought of something, or it just like leaves it open for like just more room to create.
See, and I like open-ended stuff, and the reason is, and I didn't find this out until later in life, where I used to watch Lost, and I'm going to reference another show here, but just bear with me for a minute. You remember the black? You watched Lost?
I watched part of it.
Okay,
yes.
There was the black smoke monster on there, and we didn't know it was a black smoke monster. We just would hear a noise, and there was a monster. So the whole time that show was out, I was like, man, I really want to know what that is. Then when I found out it was black smoke, I was like, oh, that sort of sucks. But I sat with it. I was there. And I knew one day they were going to tell me what it was, because they had to answer that question, right? But I realized, no matter what they told me, it was going to suck. Because whatever they told me, I was going to be like, that is the dumbest thing I ever heard. And I was never going to be satisfied. But if I never got told, I was still never satisfied. So regardless, that's going to happen. And I think they do a good thing in Stranger Things, where they leave me wanting to watch more, but they don't leave me questioning, going, well, what's that monster, and why do I need to know? I don't need to know every little detail. I fell in love with the characters. I even fell in love with hating the characters. I hate Winona Ryder. I'm not a fan of hers. I think she sucks. And she annoyed me so much in the show, but that's what made it more believable, because I was so annoyed by her. And I'm like, she is bat crazy.
Yeah, because she's one of the major story arcs in the first season. Like, right. there's so much stuff going on. There's like the storyline that involves all the kids in 11. Mm-hmm. Then there's like the teenage older brothers, then that weird love triangle thing they got going on, and then it's the adults and the sheriff and Will's mom. Right. You like have their own story going on. There's just like all these things just layered together that's just making everything like more like just. It's just like you can't be like.
You can't be into every single layer, like so, and go at every minute point is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and yes, exactly. Right. But it's enough to where like you see all these like different groups of characters going through their own experiences while everybody else is doing something different, and like everybody's going through their own struggles and figuring things out together.
Well, yeah, they're doing a good job of bringing the story arc of every other character, and they're also developing the whole story together at the same time. So they're doing that umbrella effect. Now, going forward with this, I think they gave away a lot in this teaser. I think they show 11 upside down in that opening sequence right after the Egos, because she's in the upside down. So I think there's a little clue. She just has the freshly nosebleed, so she must have just gotten there. The Ego thing, I think, is a big call out too, because remember, she can mess with the TV and stuff, and she's very nostalgic. And when she saw the Coke commercial in the first one, she almost had a flip out, because remember, it reminded her of Coca-Cola. So I think she's trying to contact somebody with that Ego commercial, because how much she loved it and how much Will brought them to her. So I think that was given away. I think, the giant monster thing is a dream sequence, like in my opinion. But
I do like the idea that it was that slug thing that got disregarded at the end.
Yeah, and I think that could be cool, but also if the one creature was impregnating him with the slug, why would it be a totally different creature? Unless that flower face creature was a giant creature, it just wasn't mature yet. That's another thing that we might get answered. But I think this is going to be throughout all the episodes that we're going to get, which I'm going to binge watch right away when it comes out, probably in one day.
I mean, you have to do that. I don't want any spoilers.
No.
I don't want to worry about spoilers.
And I want to be ahead of the curve, and I like to watch things over and over again to catch Easter eggs and to find things. But I think what's going to happen is this whole story arc is going to be 11 is going to be in the upside down almost the whole show. And
you think so?
I think she's going to be in it most of the show, and some other people are going to cross over with it. We don't know if the monster's dead. We don't know if that big monster's in there with her. We're going to find those things out.
And there's obviously multiples. Like, there's more than one of those demigorgons or whatever they're called.
Well, that's what they called it, right? They call it the Demogorgon because they played D&D. But it's going to be very interesting to me to see where they go with this. I hope they don't go through that sophomore slump where season 1 was such a huge hit that now we're getting season 2 and we're waiting for it, and there's so much anticipation. We gotta wait all the way till October 31st. I am not taking my kid trick or treating. I am just seriously just telling her I'm gonna throw a bag of candy at her and make her sit down. We're just gonna watch this all the way through. But I think there's so much anticipation built up into it. I hope it's not. We're gonna get a flop, and I don't think that's gonna happen. But that would be very disappointing.
I highly doubt that something like that's going to happen, because they already established such strong characters. Like, I think it's going to be hard for them to actually do something wrong.
So do you think anybody dies in this season? That's another thing I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about. I think
one cared about Barb. No one cared about her.
Yeah, that's true.
No one even you're going to lose a character that you care about.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think a main character, a big one that everybody loves, is going to die.
I just don't want it to be the sheriff, because he's like...
Oh, he's your favorite?
Cool. As far as one of the adults, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's a pretty good developed character. I think
Well,
also
that and then like one thing, like the Easter eggs at the end of season 1, where like that company's obviously hiring or like working
Right.
with them, or they're bringing them in because they allow him to go to the gate they open, and they like pick them up at the end of the end of season 1. And he just like gets in the car willingly. He's like, "All right, what do you got for me?"
See, this is the season I think that's going to dwell more into backstory of characters. We already know like enough of the kids and everything, and I think it's going to be one of those story arcs where we see episode 1 mainly about Will, maybe episode 2 more about the cop, and we're going to get more of the Umbrella Effect to break into more about them and maybe why they tie into why all this is happening. And then we're going to get this this company's going to be almost exposed, and I think season 2 is going to end, and it's going to lead right into season 3. That's my whole base on this show. I am very excited to see it though. It's gonna do well. Like I said, I'm a little worried for a few things, but I'm not so worried to where I think it's gonna be a dud or whatever. Yeah. You know, I think they have a lot that they can do with this and keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, when these kids are young, you gotta film them while they're young. They're just gonna get old, and you can't do anything. So like, they had a really quick turnaround between seasons, like less than a year to start working.
You know
on
what's funny
season
though?
2.
The kid with the mouth disorder.
His teeth grew in.
But also he went through puberty, and they could not have him come in and do any like audio editing. They couldn't have him do anything after that because his voice changed and it wouldn't have worked. So whatever he did stuck. But everybody else, you know, sometimes they come in and they do. We don't do that on this show because we're so loud. We don't need to edit anything else in the noise. But Chris might put a few bubbles here or there that Stranger Things, Phil Head, whatever. But
explosion.
He couldn't exploding head. He couldn't do the voiceover thing. So that's the one thing is that it's good that they hired kids young, but also kids at that age are gonna go through a lot of changes. So hopefully the show keeps up with that. But tell us what you guys think. Leave it in the comments. Let us know if you're excited for season 2. If you have any spoilers that you think is going to happen, we would like to have a discussion
any Easter eggs. We might
Easter eggs too, and I'm really excited too to see when the actual trailer comes out. It's a long time to wait for it, but get pumped, guys. It's coming soon. Like, subscribe. Be sure to check out more videos that we have for here on King's Table and Toy Kings, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.